In the early morning of July 1st, 1916, as Londoners slept, some awoke to the distant sound of explosions. To those in the city, it was a faint rumble, easily dismissed. However, this noise marked the beginning of the deadliest day in British military history, as the Battle of the Somme commenced. By the end of 1915, World War I had settled into a bloody stalemate. The Allies, including France, Britain, Russia, Italy, and Serbia, were desperate for a breakthrough. The unexpected mobility of German forces had allowed them to shift troops rapidly between fronts. To counter this, the Allied leaders planned simultaneous offensives in 1916, aiming to stretch the German army to its limits. The British and French forces chose the River Somme in northern France for their attack. Despite its lack of strategic significance, it was the meeting point of British and French forces on the Western Front. The plan involved 39 French divisions advancing in the south, while British and Commonwealth troops attacked in the north. However, the German assault on Verdun in February 1916 drew many French troops away, reducing the number of French divisions at the Somme to 12, making it primarily a British effort. British commander Sir Douglas Haig remained optimistic, believing they had sufficient artillery and ammunition for a massive assault. Against advice, Haig decided to seize both German trench lines simultaneously. The week before the attack, 1,500 British guns fired 1.7 million rounds into the German lines. On the morning of July 1st, the bombardment intensified, with nearly 4 million shells fired in an hour. At 7:28 a.m., the British detonated 10 massive mines under the German defenses, and 2 minutes later, soldiers went over the top. Despite the intense bombardment, many German defenses remained intact. Laden with up to 60 pounds of gear, British soldiers struggled uphill, under heavy machine gun and artillery fire. In the first hour alone, the British suffered 30,000 casualties, with 500 men killed, wounded, or captured every minute. Despite the slaughter, there were some successes. South of the Bapaume Road, British forces achieved most of their objectives. The French also captured all their targets, taking 4,000 German prisoners. However, the first day was largely a failure, with 57,000 British casualties and minimal gains. Both sides consolidated their positions after the first day. The Germans reinforced their defenses, while the British prepared for a second offensive on July 14th. This attack had more limited objectives and was launched at night, resulting in greater success than the first day, but still no decisive breakthrough. From mid-July to mid-September, a series of disorganized attacks, known as the Forgotten Battles, took place. These efforts, including brutal fighting by Australian forces at Pozières, failed to gain significant ground. The introduction of tanks. On September 15th, Haig introduced tanks to the battlefield. Although slow and unreliable, tanks supported infantry advances effectively in some areas. Despite these innovations, a decisive breakthrough remained elusive. Heavy rains in October and increasingly strong German defenses made further offensives difficult. By November 18, 1916, the Battle of the Somme ended. The Allies had advanced just 7 miles at a staggering cost: 420,000 British, 205,000 French, and up to 600,000 German casualties. The Battle of the Somme is often seen as a symbol of the senseless slaughter of World War I. However, some historians argue it was a necessary, though costly, victory that weakened German forces significantly. The battle forced Germany to reconsider its positions on the Western Front and contributed to their eventual withdrawal to the Hindenburg Line in 1917. The high German casualties also led to their desperation and the adoption of unrestricted submarine warfare, eventually bringing the United States into the war and sealing Germany's fate. The Battle of the Somme, despite its horrific losses, played a crucial role in the eventual Allied victory. The lessons learned and the sacrifices made during this battle had profound implications for the remainder of the war.